Another point is take action, take massive action. Like, how can you say that there is no deals out there if you don't put enough offers, right? So you got to take massive actions. And sometimes you go too fast and you have to pay the speeding ticket once in a while. But that is how
I know what you mean by that, but can you please explain?
Yeah, so I mean, like when you're going really fast, if people buy like 1 or 2 houses in a year, you end up buying like 5. Obviously, you are doing things that normal people don't do, and in this process, you will get fines, meaning like you will mess up here and there, and you will get to pay extra fines where you didn't know how it will play out, but you're just trying and figuring things out. And at this point, if you have some sort of mentorship, it helps. Absolutely. Because then they can oversee that. Some person who has done it can help you with those situations. So I feel like it's fine to pay those fines as long as you have a good momentum going, right? Because you want to fail forward, and you want to fail fast.
Let's go! Hello, and welcome back to the Very Real Estate Effect podcast, a show dedicated to real estate investing right here in Quebec. And yet today, I'm very honored and pleased to have my friends Ishan and Sidd from Khobare Capital. They're based in Cambridge, Ontario. We won't hold it against them because they have a great story to share. How are you doing, guys?
Amazing. Thank you, Al. Thank you for having us. I'm Ishan and he's Sidd. And we are honored to be on your podcast. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. I look forward to jumping into it. Before we do, for everyone listening, I just want to remind you, thank you for sharing this episode with a friend who you believe could benefit from this conversation. It always helps us reach more people because the goal of the podcast is to educate and to give you the confidence that you can invest in real estate. If Ishan, if Sidd, if Axel can do it, you can do it too. So there you go. Subscribe, like, share it with a friend, and follow us on Instagram, Monsaingeon. There we go. So who wants to start first? First of all, I love this question. How in the world did you guys get started in real estate investing?
I'll just give you a brief rundown of where we come from and why we're doing what we're doing. So this is way back when we were born, we were multimillionaires. And then we had 3 cars, 4 maids, 5 drivers, everything you would think. We would be getting 3 PS4s, PS5s as gifts, next level. So everything was great. And so we enjoyed a bunch of years like that. And then we had a downturn and we lost it all to the point where we had to move cities. And now I evidently remember this one fine day, Diwali, which is like Christmas for brown people, where we burst crackers and do all kinds of fun stuff. I evidently remember asking my mom, "Hey, mom, can I get money to buy crackers?" And she goes "Hey, we don't even have money to buy food." And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
That was a good contrast. So going from poor to rich is very easy. But when you go from rich to poor, it changes some things inside you, changes your values, belief systems. So that happened. We did our education. After 10th grade, we never stayed at home. We always excelled for progress. So we always went wherever we could get the best output of our lives. We went to different cities after 10th grade to pursue our education. Both of us are bachelors of electronics and communication. We did that.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, after that, we are okay, we have a bunch of opportunities in India, but how do we take it to the next level? And that's when we realized we have to go abroad.
Correct.
So during that phase, we didn't have enough money to go abroad and pursue higher education, but our mom had single-handedly bought 1 condo to herself. So we somehow leveraged that condo to get us a student loan. Yeah. And that's how Ishan got here in 2013, December, right? Yeah. And then next year, we leveraged the same house because it had enough equity. We leveraged the same house and I came here, got my student's loan and came here to University of Windsor.
Okay.
which is a pretty good college and a good start coming from like 35 degrees. You are not jumping into Montreal winters. You're like, it's a bit mellow. So we did our masters of computer science and electronics there for a couple of years, and then we are like, okay, there are not a lot of IT jobs if you really grow, make it large. So we moved to Toronto. We enjoyed living in downtown Toronto. I have to emphasize on this. It was a fun time. And we paid off all our debts, and we are like, okay, I think this is the first time since childhood I feel like I am not backed against a corner, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to pay anyone. I don't have any stresses in life. This is unusual.
You have the choice.
Yeah, for the first time in my life, right? This was unusual, and Ishan goes like, hey, we haven't really traveled from the time we came to Canada, so let's go and travel. So we decided to go to Euro. We did like 5-6 countries in Euro. There is a festival that we've been watching on screen as a kid. We decided we'll go and be live at Tomorrowland. That's the name of the festival. So we did that. While coming back, we realized we almost do 20 grand per head in 2 weeks. While coming back, we are like, wow, that was real, and that's life. This here is something different. This does not feel like you're enjoying that one. This is like too much work. You get maybe like 3 weeks of vacation a year, and in that you make a conscious decision if you want to go to India and meet your parents, your folks, or you want to travel the world. And it's like something's not right. And that's when Ishan started looking into other sources of income. He started reading a bunch of books which changed the mindsets. So he started getting into real estate investing, and he was going to all the meetups, like even like any meetup happening in the 400-500 kilometer radius, you would see him. So that was pretty good.
A weekend or something, because I wanted to be engrossed in the system, completely inside, submerged in the system. So that's how I can connect with people and understand what am I doing if I'm doing something right. And
definitely.
And I wasn't like pro on real estate investing. I was like, bird is a scam. Real estate investing is a scam. All of this is a scam. And then one day I happened to be in a car with him going to a real estate event. And I'm like, either I take a Uber and sit 2 hours in traffic, or I just go to the event and see what's all about.
Might as well go.
Yeah, right. And there were like 3 speakers. First 2 speakers were great. And the third one was just like a person I could relate to, because he was just so simple, humble, human being. And he was also from IT.
Perfect.
And he just flipped the switch in my brain. And from that time onwards, I was on board. And
what really happened that evening? You said that last speaker was amazing. What is it that resonated with you so much that all of a sudden the lights came on?
Please.
I feel like he wasn't an immigrant. He was the normal Canadian, but he was so simple that I felt like, this guy has no parents' money. This guy is not born with riches, and he's just a normal person. And he was a tester in IT. I was a tester in IT, and then I went to the next level, which is a developer. And I'm like, ooh, if I could do testing, and he could do testing, and he can buy houses, maybe I can buy houses too. And he was like a simple person, no facade. He was like a transparent, simple guy. And I could see that no matter everything looks like a scam, this guy is probably not a scam. And then I was like, okay, this is doable. So I think you can never say which person you resonate to.
Correct.
Because there were 3 speakers, and the third one did it for me, right? So I feel like for new people who are thinking of investing, you should go to all of these events. You don't know which speaker will have like an imprint on you at that moment, and you make a decision that will change the trajectory of your life.
So what year was that?
That was 2019, September.
Okay, so what happened after that? Kind of, or just in a nutshell, kind of tell us like what happened after that, and then let's fast forward to now so we can understand where you're at, and then we'll go and decompose the last 3 years to understand what happened in between.
Yes, so we started investing in 2020 March. That's the peak of COVID. So we were educating ourselves, getting mentorship from people that we were giving them whatever we can in return in terms of value. So we educated ourselves for 6 months, And then
2019 to 2020, we educated ourselves.
Okay.
2020 Jan Febish, we understood a lot of things. We got ourselves financially strong enough in terms of banks and all that stuff. And 2020 Jan, we locked up a property, which we're going to close the next year. And 2020 March, I bought my first property. He bought his first property in March and April. So 2020 was when it all shebang started. So and we are right now in what, 2023?
So we went on a buying spree because we had done our education. So our foundation was good.
Yes.
We had a good system. We had network around us to who run all the deals through and make sure we're making the right decisions. So we just went on a buying spree. We bought 2020 March, April, September, then 2021 Jan, then May, then November, and then 2022 we bought in March again. So we just went on a buying spree after that.
Very nice. So and what when you say we bought, was that what type of property is it?
Good. The first one was for me was a single family home, which was renovated. For him, it was a single family home with a secondary dwelling unit.
So I think like in the beginning, you're like onesies and twosies and you're like duplexes maximum.
And that's already a big deal.
Oh yeah. And because we're buying one after the other, it's not like we buy one and next year we come. No. We're buying every month or every quarter, right? So we started with luxury student rental. We tried Airbnb. We tried Airbnb arbitrage, private lending, joint venture partnerships. So in the first year of our investing, we tried a bunch of strategies.
Yeah.
And then we realized like the right way to scale a portfolio is to do it by buying large commercial assets like multifamily buildings. Yeah. And if you want to intensify the cash flow, maybe put a hint of Airbnb arbitrage, not arbitrage, Airbnb in it, like short-term rentals to intensify the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you gave us a little bit of a timeline of like your transactions and stuff. Right now in summer 2023, what does your portfolio look like?
Yeah. So the last project we worked on was a 5 to 8 conversion, 5 unit to 8 unit conversion. So we bought something for 800 and we did massive renovations, gut job, and we got it to 3 million appraisal value. So now going forward, all we are looking for is large multifamily assets with value add propositions, and that's what we're looking for. And
go from there. And the portfolio wise, we are close to 15 to some units because we just let go of the weaklings because it made sense. The market was at its peak.
So you've resold some of those first single family homes properties and then you reinvested into bigger. I remember a while ago, we were on a mastermind together and you shared a story about how you used to do mailers and someone called you after like 2-3 months. It was like, I don't recall the story exactly perfectly. I think it was like 2 hours north of Toronto and you got the guy on the phone. Remember which one I'm talking about?
Yes,
I definitely share this one because I remember thinking like, man, those guys have balls.
Yeah. So what happened was, so I was back in the day, we both were working our IT jobs. And then we got a call at like sometime around morning or afternoonish. And this guy's like, hey, I saw your letter, which was delivered 2 or 4 or 5 months back. And I'm looking to sell my house. I was like, cool. All right, fine. So do you know how much you're looking for your house? He's like, I have a rough idea. All right, fine. So then I did my due diligence. I called him back. So I told him, hey, I have an idea of how much I can give you. And it's this number, around this number. And he's like, okay, fine, you can come tomorrow. I have other folks as well coming tomorrow. I'm like, who's these other folks? Oh, these are the other people who are also looking to buy. I told him like, listen, I will get you the number what you're looking for. I don't want to play this cat and mouse game. I'm going to drive today, look at your house. If you are willing to sign for the number you're happy with, only then I'm going to pursue and do this business and we can go ahead. If not, fine. You can just go with the other option of the other folks.
Fair enough. I'm not going to waste my time.
Absolutely, because my time is more important than what you might think it is, right? So I'm just putting my frame, like that's where I'm coming from. Perfect. Then what happened was he's like, all right, fine, you can come. And then he just got to know like 5-ish. And then it was snowstorm.
We like, actually started driving and a buddy of ours calls us and lets us know, hey, it's a snowstorm. You should go tomorrow. Why are you going today? We are like, dude, this is a hot lead. So
Yeah, we're going.
We're going.
I have winter tires. I have SUV. Even if it takes like 3 hours, I will still.
We're driving at 40 kilometers per hour.
Yeah,
somewhere so like that on the highway.
Yeah,
so
like it took us almost two and a half
3
hours to get from Cambridge to Barrie, and we got there. Around 7:30,
7:30, 8 o'clock. And then we just had a conversation with this gentleman. For some reason, his energy was really good. He was coming from a good energy. We connected with him. We saw the property.
We saw the property for the first 15 minutes.
Yes.
And then we started conversing and building rapport.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we were enjoying our conversation so much that we didn't talk about the property
at all
afterwards at all. So we started around 7:30. We spoke 15 minutes about the property, and then fast forward, it's 12:30.
Whoa.
We are just chilling.
Yeah. By then you had
like,
you probably had a bite to eat. You had a drink.
Yeah, we had a drink as well. So
Yeah.
we became friends with him. We had a really good rapport, and we could vibe with him.
Perfect. Because what I feel is when you're trying to buy someone's house, he can sell it to Axel, Sidd, or Ishan, anyone. Now, why does he choose Axel only instead of Sidd or Ishan? Or why does he choose Sidd instead of Axel and Ishan? There's got to be some kind of connection, a human connection.
The chemistry.
Exactly. And then when you're trying to just buy the house and make the numbers work and all that, you can whiff off the smell of the intentions of the other entity or the person, whoever there is. So if you come with a good place, like good, and then you're just trying to help the person and just explaining him like what these numbers are, what's going on. If you happen to go with me, fine. I'm going to educate you. If you don't happen to go with me, these are the things which you need to look forward to. So now there's a respect, mutual respect between the two people. And once you have that kind of respect is when you can start digging deep into his why, what's he selling for, what's he going to do next, how can you help him, right? Now we both are trying to help each other.
Exactly.
And if the number works, good.
So at 12:30, we are like, let's talk about this. He's like, perfect. 10 minutes, we chatted, boom. We got the signature. The house is under contract.
Perfect.
And we leave his house around 12:45-ish.
Yeah, we reach home 2:30 a.m. and then we have to work at 9 in the morning.
So that's so. I was gonna say, first of all, I'm not sorry because you were tired the next day, because that's part of the good reality. Now, did you? I think you wholesaled it, huh?
Yeah. Yes. So we have a couple of realtors who helped us on the disposition side of things. So we had an assignment fees of $200,000, and after paying out the agents, we made $150,000. And this was like January, and I'm like, bro, this is a lot of money.
This is more money than you make at your job in a year.
Yeah, both of us.
Yeah,
after tax, right?
After tax, exactly. Wait, you had a wholesale fee of $200K?
Yes.
God damn, you really got it at a good price.
Amazing.
We got it at a good price, and the market was at peak. It was like perfect timing altogether, right?
Yes.
And there was enough uplift on the property as well, so a flipper could flip it even after giving us that heavy help.
Yes. Yeah. So that was the story.
Yeah. So and because there's so many things that resonate with me when you describe this situation, because taking the time, being human, you're not just a buyer who's going to come and see a seller. You're just two people coming together to have a chat. And I love what you said about, like, we talked about the property for 15 minutes.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. This is it. This is the layout. This is the price. This is the condition. Can we meet? And then it's people coming together on a really stormy, wintry day. And then, as you said, building that connection. And then by the end of the night, he wants you to be his buyer.
Absolutely. And we're trying to help him as well, right? He wanted to push the closing and everything. We were just all over making sure it's a win-win situation for everyone.
So in order to get this deal, you did some mailers. I remember that you're very creative and good at your prospecting. That seems to be really one of your strengths. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've structured your deal flow?
So as we used to work our jobs, so we used the direct mail campaign from Canada Post. We just drop a bunch of flyers based on the zones in each city. We target the zones which we feel comfortable based on multiple parameters over there for the people who know about it, like age group, household income, and all that fun stuff. So that's how we try to work around Cambridge, 1 hour, 2 hours from here, and go about it, right? Okay. And we work with other people as well, so we know when they have dropped the flyers. So we kind of know the sentiment of how much lead to the actual the deal flow actually working out is happening. So we are also having a pulse on the market, if you could say like that, right? So that's very important as well. Other than that, we have also done driving for dollars, where we kind of have a database of the whole city, of our city especially. So if there is a property, we know like kind of like what is the condition of the property based on what we feel, because we have driven the whole city and we have mapped out the whole database. So that is something which is priceless. Right. So we wake up at 6 a.m., just go for a drive, and then come back by 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and start our office work. So there was like trying to do something, right? So things like that. So these are the two aspects which we have used. And then we have used some bird dogs as well at times, not that much, but
and I think it's the main emphasis is on making connections as well, because
correct.
Once someone knows what you're exactly looking for, and you got to be a little specific about what you're looking for. You can't be like, hey, I'm looking for a bird property. What shape, which market?
Exactly. No, you got to be a lot more specific.
You got to be very specific, and then you just start talking to your network and let them know what you're exactly looking for. And people bring deals to you if they know that you can close.
And you're right. It's amazing to see, like, the more specific you are and the more you tell people, the more good leads will actually come back to you. And here, even just talking to people, the cashier at the corner store, hey, if you ever hear of someone in the neighborhood who wants to sell, 2 weeks later, you're going to get a lead from that. Or 2 months later, you never know. But all it takes is just those simple conversations. And hey, if you give me a good lead and I buy, I'll give you $1,000. All of a sudden, the cashier is super motivated. $1,000 is a week of income.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So I understand also that you recently put, I think, a 17 unit under contract.
Yeah.
Yes, we're working on
your current deal. Can you kind of tell us about that?
Yeah, so we're working on this 17 unit in Kitchener. We have a VTB on table, which is really, really necessary in this kind of environment where you can't just go and buy something because the banks won't, the interest rate does not help you. So you got to be creative. So we have a VTB on the table, and the unit mix is really good. It's 11 one beds and remaining 2 beds. The key here is, while we walk through the properties, we understand that we can, with some creativity, we can convert the 1 beds into 2 beds, which gives a big lift. And it is prime market, great location, 2 minutes from the highway. So overall, it's a really good deal. We're still in the due diligence phase. So we are figuring out things and and go from there. And we're also working with multiple investors to see what the capacity is to invest and what's the timeline around it, to just explain about the deal and pretty much go from there. So we are raising money through our passive investors who would like a piece of the pie without having to know anything about it in terms of not having to be involved, do all of this stuff, but they're like, hey, this deal looks good, numbers look good, we want to be part of this. Perfect.
It doesn't need to be exactly the numbers of this deal, but in deals similar like that, do you feel comfortable talking a little bit about the structure and the equity split you would do?
Yeah. I mean,
depending on the deal, depending on the meat on the bone, right, and the amount of work you need to do. So technically,
and also the number of partners you have.
Correct. So generally, we have like a different faucet. Like if someone is going to do property management, how much stake he's going to get, asset management, how much he's going to get, how much is going to be the general contracting fees, like that, like passive investor who's bringing money, who's bringing the financing power, like the source of funds and all that fun stuff. So every different bucket has its own percentage. Depending on how many buckets you can hit, you get that much stake and go from there.
It also depends on what kind of property it is, right? Like if you're looking for a bird property, it's more intensive in the beginning.
Correct.
And then whoever is making sure it gets to a stabilized state has a bigger piece of the pie. So that means it'll be more heavy on the construction side of things. And if it's just a buy and hold, it's more, the emphasis is more on the property management side of things. But on a normal scale, just to give you a high level idea, it's usually a 50-50 split. The person who finds the deal, projects numbers, actually does all the work, makes sure that everything goes as planned, gets the 50%, and the other 50% is for the people who bring the money and bring the qualification. That's kind of the high level split. And
and if it was a buy and hold, it's different. Sometimes we give more to the passive investor, And we go
Yeah.
from the deal per deal basis. But
Yeah,
every
yeah.
has its own significance and value for which bucket you are in, and go from there.
Yeah. And I mean, just to give you a little more about the numbers, it's 75% VTB. So you will need it's a $3.4 million purchase.
Okay.
So you need, with closing costs, you'll need up to $1 million to close. Then another $700,000 for cash for keys, renovations. And I think with a 70% turnover over the span of 2 to 4 years, you will have your money back. So ideally, like if you're comfortable leaving money in the property, beautiful. That is like 3 to 5 years is a good time span to get returns.
Yes.
And it's a strong market like Kitchener, right? So even if you're leaving $500,000 in the property, you are sure it's not.
Oh, that's fine. Exactly.
Totally fine,
yeah.
Right.
And I mean, like building these sizes like 17 unit with the interest rates how they are and the less options and exit strategies you have, I think leaving $500,000 is not a problem. And we specifically look for properties that we can refinance into CMH, CMLI select because of the low DSCR, like debt service coverage ratio that you can get.
Beautiful.
And we try to achieve level 2 or level 3 in energy efficiency.
Yeah. So sometimes, like we all know how difficult the market is with number of different factors, including interest rates. And I'm like, man, if we can kind of make the deal work, imagine what it's going to be like when interest rates are back at 275.
Right?
Mamma mia.
And I think
Mamma mia, exactly. So I'm like, we just got to find patient money right now. That's my word. It's like, you got to find partners who are able to come in and not look at it or think about it for 3 to 5 years. If you find people like that, and that's actually a really good tip for anyone listening, is that we will weather the storm. You have to get through it. The economic conditions will improve. And to me, by the beginning of 2024, I mean, inflation is back down now to under 3%. It's going to take a little bit of time for interest rates to go back down. And so if you're able to get through it and withhold the projects that you have now, 2 to 3 years from now, you're going to be in an excellent position.
And the one thing that the last 2 years have taught us is you got to be more conservative. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a get rich for sure scheme, right? And at this point, it's tough to get into properties. It's not tough to get into properties because you can still figure out a creative way to get into them. But the problem is you don't have enough exits. Correct. The only exit that works at this point is CMH, CMLI select. Otherwise, you just be comfortable waiting for the interest rates to come down.
You mentioned a very good point. You said you've spent a lot of time educating yourself and learning over the last 2-3 years. Now, a part of the audience of the podcast are people who want to get started, who maybe have done a transaction or two. And I wanted to see with you, like, what would be, like, let's say 2 to 4 pieces of advice you would give to people who are just at the beginning and who are looking to scale? What for you made the difference?
You want to go first?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, like whichever city you're looking to invest in, you have to go to the networking events over there. You want to find the Axels, Ishans, and Sidds of that particular city or wherever it is, right? Once you understand who the Axel, Ishan, Sidd are of that city, then you tap into their A team, because they have taken years of experience and worked through all the hardships to build their A team. And if you want to leverage that quickly, you have to come with some certain value add to the Axels, Ishans, and Sidd as well. Because, hey, we don't have time for tire kickers because we have worked hard for this, right? So I would say networking. Go to networking event as much as you can, right? And connect with the people, because they will give you more information about what's going on and how they are targeting different property and prospects which you might have interest in. So that's one of the first.
And I think like people do sometimes feel like mentorship is certain amount of dollars and they're like, hey, I don't know if I need that. Do look for a community that can support you. If you bring your dreams, you're like, hey, I want to buy 500 units in the 5 years. Tell that to your mom or to your relatives. What are they going to be like? They're like, are you crazy and you're greedy too? What's
just stick to your day job, they're gonna say.
Right.
Don't take risks.
Not at all.
You want people around you to tell you that, hey, buddy, dreaming less. Why don't we make this 5,000 units? Or like,
Yeah.
okay, my goal is 750
Whoa.
units. So you need people around you that make you feel like this is normal.
Correct.
You are supposed to do this if you want to dream big. So you need a community and some sort of guidance, right? Because throughout our, like we emphasized, like we educated ourselves. So until like we had mentors throughout the whole journey, and that's why our journey was on an accelerated speed, right? So we would learn from their mistakes and make sure we don't make them, right? Because even one mistake, a bad property, a wrong property, even if it does not hamper you in dollar amount, and even if the dollar amount loss is very small and does not affect on the big scale, the only thing that it hampers is the opportunity cost, because now you lost 6 months, 9 months.
Yes.
And you're discouraged.
Exactly, right?
It kills your vibe.
Like, hey, yeah, and you're like, maybe I should recheck the numbers, and you're like scared, right? So having some sort of mentorship is very important, and then having a community around you is very immensely important, which who are doing the same kind of stuff that you're doing. And I think another point is take action, take massive action. Like, how can you say that there is no deals out there if you don't put enough offers, right? So you got to take massive actions. And sometimes you go too fast and you have to pay the speeding ticket once in a while. But that is how
can you I know what you mean by that, but can you please explain?
Yeah, so I mean, like when you're going really fast, if people buy like 1 or 2 houses in a year, you end up buying like 5. Obviously, you are doing things that normal people don't do. And in this process, you will get fines, meaning like you will mess up here and there, and you will get to pay extra fines where you didn't know how it will play out, but you're just trying and figuring things out. And at this point, if you have some sort of mentorship, it helps. Absolutely. Because then they can oversee that. Some person who has done it can help you with those situations. So I feel like it's fine to pay those fines as long as you have a good momentum going, right? Because you want to fail forward, and you want to fail fast.
And you want to fail fast and get back up really easily, quickly.
Just keep going. Quickly.
I'm happy I asked clarification on this, because I interpreted this in a different way, that when you go faster, when people buy 1 house, you buy 5. As you said, like 1 out of those 5 isn't going to be that great of a deal, and you may leave a little bit on the table. But I had interpreted as, when you're in the action and you go and make offers, sometimes you're going to go to due diligence and it's going to cost you 15K, and then you're going to walk away, and it's 15K that you lost, in quotation mark. But I was going to say that's the fine, because for 1 that you dropped, there's 2 that you might have closed, and they pay for kind of that loss for your due diligence of 15K. And so it's okay. It's part of the cost of doing business.
Yeah. And you would never have learned that lesson any other way. Maybe. That's why it's fine that you learn the lesson. Now, even if you buy 50, you're sure that you won't mess up in that one way that you did. And that brings back to, it helps to have someone who has done it before, and you're learning from him so that you don't make those same mistakes.
Yeah. And just to build along those lines, a mistake I made at the beginning is that I looked up to people who were so far ahead. And it took me a little bit of time to realize, like, you just have to sometimes pick people that are just 2 years ahead of you. Or just, life for me is not a line, it's a spiral. And we're in different spots in the cycle of the spiral. And we just need to pick someone that's just a bit ahead. But not Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is amazing. I can't relate to a guy who's got $2 billion worth of real estate.
And I think I love this. I love what point you have highlighted, because there are realtors who are the talk of the town. But that realtor is not your realtor, my friend. You need a realtor who's hungry, who wants to learn and grow with you, like who's helping you right now. So you need to find your best realtor, not like the grand car. Exactly. Bingo.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, I would like to emphasize on the rule of 33, 30, 33. You need 33% people in your life who are way past you, where you can look at them, get inspired, get motivated. But at the same time, you need another level of 33% people who are doing the same craft, who are mastering the same craft, who are on the same level. Correct. So when you run into issues, you all are running into issues together, and you're figuring it out. And then at times you need the 33% who don't really care about your goals and who don't want anything to do with any of this, where someday you are feeling low, you can just hang out with them and be like, dude, I am leaps and years ahead of everyone. And I feel humble to be hanging out with once in a while. Right?
Yeah, I love the way you just described it as thirds. And where I got the reality check is that I've seen some people who I would have categorized in the bottom third that are now in the top third. And I'm like, whoa, what happened to me? I stagnated and they went for so much further ahead. And I'm like, yeah, but now they're pulling me up, whereas before I was pulling them up. And so, it's the mentality of the abundance, and there's plenty enough for everyone. We just need to help out.
Yeah. And I think it's a very important thing is to be aware of what's happening around you and what kind of people can help you at that point in your life, right? If you need a conservative approach, you should have a buddy who you can just call and be like, hey, this is the conservative approach I'm looking for. But at the same time, sometimes you are like in analysis paralysis and you just need someone to give you a good kick in your ass and be like, just put a freaking offer, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be aware that this is happening to you and you can reach out to help for your support system. So having that network and being aware is key, I feel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It reminds me yesterday, I put two people in touch for a property here, a triplex in Montreal that's fully vacant. It's at a decent price, but there's a fair amount of capex. And the guy was arguing, he was like, yeah, but for 30K. And I told him, like, 2 years down the road, is that 30K going to make a difference? No, you're just happy you made the deal. So don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Boys, I could keep going on for quite a while. If people want to continue this conversation with you, what is the best way to get in touch?
The best way to get in touch with us would be Instagram or Facebook.
Okay.
My handle goes by Ishan.Khobare. That's my name. And I have my company, which is Khobare Capital. And we have profiles on Facebook and Instagram. That's going to be a way to get to connect with us. And also, we're going to be having some YouTube channel as well, which we are in the works. So look out for that.
Yeah, and my Facebook is Siddharth space Khobare, and my Insta handle is kidyou_Sidd. Yeah, and just reach out to any one of us. We have a Calendly link in our bio on Instagram. Just hop on, book a call, and let's see if our goals match and we can help each other in any way, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And this always starts with just a simple conversation between two people. So I highly encourage anyone listening to reach out to you too. And if they have properties for sale, if they are looking for properties and so on, you never know what it could lead to. Thank you very much to the two of you, boys. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. To everyone listening, again, share this episode with a friend who could benefit from this conversation. I know there's at least 2 or 3 people around you right now who could get motivated by their story. It's impressive what they've done in the last 3 years. And if they can do it, you can do it too.
Yes, sir. I love
There
that.
you go.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much. And keep making some offers. Research your market. And I'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
See you.